what were your responsibilities, and how often would you meet with Winston Churchill? Give me a feel for that.
Well, I was posted, as I say, to the Committee of Imperial Defense.
Yes.
Which existed and supervised all the preparations for war. And our staff was part of the Cabinet Office staff.
Yes.
And so we had to run all the committees that composed the CID.
Yes.
And its subsidiary organs, and the Chiefs of Staff Committee, and the Joint Planning and Joint Intelligence Committees, and so on.
Yes.
And we were the secretaries of all these committees, and our job was to see that the matters were all dealt with correctly, and the decisions disseminated, and action following.
Yes.
So we sort of were the handling machine, as it were, of the government.
Yes, there's a lot of coordination involved.
Yes.
I should say. Therefore, how often would you and your staff meet with Prime Minister Churchill?
Well, he conducted his business in an unusual way. He always insisted on it being done in writing.
Ah.
So that he would write minutes to people, us or to his ministers or chiefs of staff.
Yes.
Or anybody. And the replies would go, we would collect the replies, put them up to him, you see.
Yes.
Always in writing.
Why, Sir Ian, did he like it in writing? Just for the record? What was...
Well, he was not prepared to have somebody say to him, but Prime Minister, you told me to do so and so. He would say, well, where did I tell you?
I see.
And therefore all his decisions and his comments and activities were in writing always.
Yes, yes.
And he had his box there, into which the replies were put, and he worked on his box when he woke up in the morning or any time he liked in the day.
Yes, yes. And Winston Churchill was such an inspiring leader to us American people. We were always amazed with his courage and...
Yes, well, he was. He was not a politician. He was a war leader.
Yes.
And he was not a good politician at all, or he would have been Prime Minister long before. But when you wanted a leader in the nation, you couldn't have got anybody better.
Yes. At that time, for your country, you had the best leader possible, didn't you?
That's right.
You couldn't have had a better man than Churchill.
No.
And did you find that he inspired you and your staff?
Of course, he was a difficult man to work for in some ways, because he didn't, time meant nothing to him, you see, and he slept every afternoon, and we didn't. So it got rather tiring after a bit, but one admired him immensely, but he was very thorough.
Yes.
He never said, well, we'll finish this tomorrow. He'd go on and finish it.
Yes, no matter what the time involved was.
That's right.
Huh.
And he was a remarkable man.
Yes. So I imagine you admired him greatly.
Yes, very much so.
Did you have a close personal relationship with him?
Well, you see, you did and you didn't. Well, very rarely, you see, he didn't run his business like anybody else. You did not take papers into him and explain them to him and that sort of thing. Everything went into his box in writing, and then he fired back at you, and then you fired again.
Yes.
If necessary. So one saw him a lot at meetings, and occasionally on other occasions. And then, of course, I traveled with him to various places in the world, like Washington and Moscow and so on.
Yes.
But you didn't have, I never had a sort of cozy chat with him anyway. That wasn't his line.
So it wasn't like the two of you would go to lunch and talk about things, or no, not that kind of thing.
No.
All right. How about, Sir Ian, when he met with Franklin Roosevelt? Were you ever present at those meetings?
I was indeed. I was at one stage, I was the only person other than Winston who had been present at meetings in the White House with the President and in the Kremlin with Moscow, with Stalin.
All right. Could be, being that is such a historic thing, could you talk a little about your impressions of Roosevelt? How did Roosevelt and Churchill get along?
Well, they got on very well, except, of course, that they had very different habits. Roosevelt liked going to bed early, and Winston liked going to bed late. And he liked talking very much. And I think he kept Roosevelt up at times when he didn't want to be kept up. But on the whole, they got on very well.
Yes.